If you're a Rails developer, you've probably used the asset pipeline, and you may have noticed a little bit of an interesting type of process inside of your JavaScript application file. And even if you're not a Rails developer and you're just learning Ruby, this is still going to be a really good thing. Now, what we're going to do is take a list of JavaScript require statements like this, and we are going to clean them up so that they will only have the path, and also they'll have the JavaScript file name, because you may have noticed something here. When you go in your application file and you have this / equals require, and then you have the path to the library, it doesn't have you type the .js in. It allows you to just type the name in, and then it appends that on for you. Now, this by itself is nowhere near all of the complexity that goes into the Rails asset pipeline. It is a massive process. I just want to walk you through one stage of it, which is to remove those require statements and to pull in the file names and their paths by themselves, and also to append the extension on there. So I think this will be a good exercise. So the first thing we're going to do is, you can see in the expectation there on line 14 that there is a method called append.js file extension. And so this is just a regular method. We're not opening up the array class or anything like that. And then this takes a set of required files. And that is going to be the one argument. So it's going to be an array, but it's going to be passed in as a single array. So we don't have to use a splat argument or anything like that. Now, the next thing we're going to do, and this is going to be something that looks maybe a little bit different if you've never used it before, but we're going to use two chain together map statements. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say map do, and I'm going to start working with the file. And the first thing is to remove that full set of require statements. So if you come here, the goal of this is we're going to take everything from here to this space, and we're just going to remove it. So we're going to be left with just the path. And so that's a first thing we want. So I'm going to say file.gsub, and then gsub takes in a regular expression starting with a slash. And now if you are new to regular expressions, one little interesting thing that you have to do if you want to match a pattern, which is exactly what we want to match this exact pattern, well, the slash would create a problem here. And the reason is because the slash is something that is specially used for regular expression. So if I tried to do something like that, it is going to not work out very well. So what we need to do is we need to escape those. And so this is going to look a little bit odd, but you escape it with a / in front of each item that you actually want to show. So if you want a slash like this, and like this, and you actually want that included in the pattern, you have to prepend it with a / here and here, so just right in front of it. And then we're going to have the require statement followed by another slash and then a comma, and here we just want to have a empty string replace that require statement. So now let's come down. I'm going to grab this full array here, and let's come here, and now let's use these. Okay, so we have JavaScript files, and I want to append the JavaScript file extension, JavaScript files. Now, this isn't going to be everything we need, but it's going to be part of it. So if I run this right now, let's see what we get on line 18. You can see there on line 18, we get part of what we want. Notice how this is now successfully removed the / equals require and then space. So this is working very nicely. Our pattern matcher worked. Now all we have to do is add the .js to the end of it. And so the way you can do that is just call map on this again, and I'm going to say do with the block variable of f, and say f, and then append.js. Now if we run this on line 20, you should see exactly what we want, and you do. So now you can see that we have removed the unnecessary information and then we've added anything else that we want. So this is a pattern that you may see where you want to remove something and then you want to append or add something else, and this is something that can be very helpful whenever you're wanting to perform those type of processes. Let me remove our debugging code here, and I'm going to open this up on the side. Run rspec March 19th, see if our test is passing, and it is. So now we have the ability to append the JS file extension and remove require statements so that we can actually use the path and the file names in Ruby.